Did I ever get a chance to tell you guys a story about how they threw me, President Reagan, out of the old folks' home on Veterans Day? No, I didn't, did I? I forgot all about this video. Till I was looking through my SD cards. Veterans Day 2019, they had advertised this in all the local papers on the internet that the veterans would be telling their stories. So I came on down and had a listen. Little did I know that there was communist traitors in our presence. People that hate baseball and apple pie. Anyways, just watch.
Happy Veterans Day, everybody. Demand your flag makes it here to the Belmont Senior Living Center in Lincoln Park. That's a neighborhood of Chicago. Here on a snowy Veterans Day, inside these walls, some veterans, hopefully we'll get them to tell us some of their stories, share some of their life experiences, some of the greatest men that the nation has live inside of walls of places just like this all around the country. And it would be a tragedy for us to not document their lives while we have the chance. So, Demand Your Flag has made it here to the Belmont Living Center, the Belmont Senior Center, Belmont Village in Lincoln Park, Illinois. Demand your flag. I'm here with Matt Iverson, Chicago, Illinois, Lincoln Park, the Belmont Senior Living Center. Mr. Iverson went to Fort Benning and then was drafted into the CIA. That's the Central Intelligence Agency. Mr. Iverson, what branch of the armed forces did you start at, and what year was it?
Well, I started. The Army has an intelligence unit, obviously, and I started with the Army and was reassigned to the Central Intelligence Agency. I then spent several years in the Washington, D.C. area, working for the CIA.
So they saw something in you. Obviously, you were in the intelligence agency in the Army, and then the best intelligence personnel went to the CIA. Is that kind of how it works? You were a star in the intelligence agency in the Army, and they saw a quality about you that they drafted you?
Hold of my record and decided they wanted me in, so I was assigned there.
So you were assigned there, and that's all top secret, right?
Yes.
We don't want to talk about anything that'll get you court-martialed, right? So you were generally, the time frame is, you said, right before the conflict in Vietnam. You were working with the Central Intelligence Agency as a spy on behalf of the United States government, doing covert operations in, what did you say, England?
Europe.
Europe, over there in Europe.
France.
Shaking hands and kissing babies, on behalf of the U.S. government.
Well, it would have been maybe 3 years after I finished law school.
Oh, so 3 years after you finished law school, so the best and the brightest they took. And did you have, so you didn't use the name Matt Iverson, you obviously used another name. Did you use a pseudonym, I would assume? Did you get to pick your name, or did they just tell you, now you're Matt Bourne? But so if somebody asked you, would you say, I'm Matt? Or did you have a whole story? I'm Frank from Ottawa, Canada.
Well, it depended on what I was doing.
Well, you had to switch it up, did you?
Well, no, I went to, a lot of what I did involved around Europe.
Yeah.
England and France in particular. And so that was the focus of attention.
Yeah, and then in whatever political affairs we had, who was the prime minister there over there in England at the time?
I don't remember.
Yeah, neither do I. He couldn't have been that important, right? We remember Churchill.
Oh, yeah.
So whoever it was didn't do that much.
I don't think Churchill was around.
Yeah, I don't think Churchill was around either. That was World War II. There you have it. This is a member of the CIA, sworn to secrecy. Something that he was not breaking it. I've asked him questions. He will not break. This man is made of steel. He has been trained by the best and the brightest. He is America's best here at the Belmont Living Center. And here we are with Shirley McGee. Shirley McGee on Veterans Day at the Belmont Senior Living Center, Chicago, Illinois. Shirley has a story to tell about one of her relatives that served in the armed forces.
She didn't have, she never said that, but she was they wanted her because she knew how to look a la satellites and all the things that you could see from the satellites, you know, that are falling around. And so she could read about them and tell them, is there something doing here? There's something moving, stuff like that. And so she worked there for long years. And I guess they must have really liked her because they kept on keeping her on all the time. But finally she took me down and see it. And it was very...
You're saying that she was your sister had studied the satellites? Is that what you said, satellites?
Uh-huh.
And so she was, what years, what time frame are we talking?
It's a long time ago. I can't tell you how much because I don't remember.
Okay, so the satellite program had to be new because I know in the Reagan administration, which was in the 80s, they started the Star Wars program, which was basically satellite software to spy on those commies over there in Russia. So it was probably the 80s. Would you say the 80s, 20 or 30 years ago?
Maybe, could be. I don't remember. You know, I went down there just because she wanted me to come.
And when you say down there, what do you mean? Where? Down where?
To CIA.
CIA down in Langley, Virginia.
Yes.
Or Langley, CIA?
And they had me.
Yeah, CIA is in Langley.
They looked, I'm sure, and looked very closely that I was not a...
I'm sorry, 1 second, ma'am.
So that's when this communist blows her cover. She comes over and she tells me to stop recording. I say, okay, I don't need problems. I stand up. And what do you know? This femme fatale, this KGB trained operative, tried to put her hands on President Reagan. What she didn't understand is I am made of 100% pure American steel. I don't care if you've been trained in the gulags of Siberia, sweetheart. You must not have seen Rocky IV. It doesn't end well for you. Anyways, I left my brethren behind because I know they can take care of themselves. I feel bad for her. The offspring of Ivan Dragos. We beat you in Rocky IV. We always beat you in the Olympics. We beat you in Reykjavik when President Reagan went toe-to-toe with Mikhail Gorbachev, the guy that had the map of Hawaii on his head. When are you guys going to learn? Stop playing with the Americans. We're not to be played with. They got an inferiority complex. In Rocky IV, they said, you think you are so very, very good, and we are so very, very bad. And then in Reykjavik, old Gorbachev, Hawaii head, said, Reagan, President Reagan, you are not the teacher. I am not the student. Those two statements alone let us know that you are very, very, very much intimidated by us. And I can understand why. We're Americans. Stupid communists sent over to foil Veterans Day. Don't worry, Veterans Day comes around every year. I'll be back next year. Prepare.
There you go. Kicked out of the Belmont Living Center. Kicked out of the Belmont Living Center on Veterans Day. The veterans were happy to see us. We were talking to them about what was going on. And some young lady who thinks she's in charge of everything said, I don't want you talking to the residents. Happy Veterans Day. Disorderly product news getting nowhere anytime soon. These people are patently corrupt and ridiculous.
Blonde-haired lady during the event, it was her job to walk around and introduce the people that had served and then put the microphone in front of their face because they wanted to tell a story. But she wasn't paying attention to anything they were saying because when they took a break or they paused, she grabbed the microphone back and said, the great story, except the person was in the middle of a sentence. She was too self-absorbed and self-obsessed, couldn't stop herself from getting her one-liners off. She had absolutely no idea what the people were saying. She wasn't paying attention to them at all because if they stopped or stuttered for a second, great story. Oh my God, it was terrible listening to her. But if you don't think I know a communist when I see one, well then I got a bridge to sell you. Because me and the rest of the men in there from the CIA have had a covert plot. We know she's a communist plant. You're going to have to try harder than that to fool old American ingenuity, American intelligence. You better try harder. China, Cuba, Russia. I don't even know who's communist anymore. The failed ideology. Stupid ideology doesn't even work. You don't think I know a communist when I see one? That was a communist plant. We sniffed her out from a mile away. But that was the time I got kicked out of a senior living home. On Veterans Day. By a communist. Anyways, disorderly product news. Good night.